Right. R&D tax credits. Can I have a show of hands? Do put your hand up if your business makes an R&D tax claim every year. Okay. I'll assume the rest don't. So one of our initiatives is Kene Partners know all about our industry and can mine R&D tax credits from places you wouldn't think they were there. So you might not think you do any R&D, but you'll be surprised when you get these guys into your business. So I'd like to introduce to you Tom Jennings from Kene Partners to tell us a little bit about our R&D tax credits initiative. Thank you, Tom.
It's good attention to detail on Welsh I am, so I like the mining reference, by the way. It's good to see some familiar faces here today. For those of you that I haven't yet met, you probably have met my colleagues Adam and Jeff a few times. As Tim mentioned, my name's Tom. I work with Kene Partners. Those of you that don't know, we're an R&D tax credit consultancy. It's not as boring as it sounds, I do promise you. And today we'll be running through some of the changes that HMRC have changed, what that means to the R&D landscape, and ultimately your claims. But before we do, it's probably worth just doing a quick recap, especially as so many of you in the room aren't currently claiming, of what R&D tax credits actually are. It's a government incentive designed to promote innovation in the UK. It allows you to claim back up to 33% of the expenditure invested into qualifying projects. The purposely broad legislation lends itself very well to most SPA members, because whether you're developing a new product, process, system, anything, or updating an existing one, the chances are you probably qualify. Sorry, I'm not being rude, I forgot to print my notes off. Exploitation of this scheme has thankfully seen HMRC clamp down on fraudulent claims. It's a step in the right direction for all legitimate businesses and service providers, but this recent hardline approach hasn't been without collateral damage. Following on from several high-profile articles in the media, including from the likes of the Financial Times, HMRC recently released this statement to give us all some clarity. I say clarity, they're not exactly known for their clarity, but at least it's a step in the direction at least. But ultimately, what does this mean for our claims? Well, firstly, it causes delays to payments. Ultimately, claims which, HMRC are already stretched, but submitting claims which don't align with their own legislation, of course, creates a bottleneck. HMRC will want to be doing their due diligence and ensure they are asking the right questions. Whilst fraudulent claims are rightfully always at a higher risk of inquiry, we have noticed a more randomized approach, seemingly targeting SMEs opting for the cash benefit. So how do we ensure that our claims carry minimal risk? Well, when your sector qualified project manager visits your premises, he or she will acquire a senior officer's endorsement during an in-depth technical discussion, whereby the goal is to ungather as much technical information from your projects as possible. HMRC will now need to be made aware of your intention to claim prior to your accounting period ending. This should lead to a more deliberate approach to R&D. And lastly, to coincide with the government's Making Tax Digital initiative, all claims must be submitted digitally, which for obvious reasons will help streamline the process for all involved. I hope that's been helpful. I appreciate everyone's probably ready for a beer now, so try not to take up too much time. If you do have any questions at any point, I'll be here this evening and tomorrow morning, so I'm looking forward to chatting to you all individually, so please do pull me aside.
Yeah, so if you haven't made a claim, please do. Please use Kene, they're fantastic. I think I'm right in saying that if you haven't made a claim before, you still claim for the first 2 years, is that right, Tom?
That's right.
Yeah, so you can actually go back 2 years, so well worth it. And interestingly, when we made our first R&D tax credit tax claim probably 6-7 years ago, when Adam was a young man, we hadn't made any profit the previous year, So the R&D tax credit actually came through as a cheque from HMRC, which at that time was extremely gratefully received. So I think that's still the way, isn't it? Yeah. If you're not profit making at the moment, you do actually get this as cash, which is a great help.